going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. In today's video, we're going to be covering more superstar abilities within Madden 24. Specifically, I want to take a look at the offensive line today. The first thing that I want to cover in this video is that there are no X Factor abilities available to offensive linemen. So as you can see here, I've moved Olu Fashanu to X Factor, and there's no ability available on him. One of, if not the best abilities that is available on any offensive lineman in the game is going to be post up, which is going to almost guarantee a win on any double team block that this player is engaged in. And double teams happen on almost every single play. We can't guarantee that this specific player is going to be the one that is active in a double team, but generally on any given run play, you're going to have a double team between a center and a guard, more often than not, and sometimes between a guard and a tackle, sometimes between a tackle and a tight end. So post up is a really good bang for your buck. Now, it is one that is a higher overall to be able to actually access it. I believe you have to be an 85 in one of the categories. I'm not sure exactly which one, but post up is the one that I would recommend pretty much everybody get on your player if you have it available to you, because double team scenarios are going to be more often available to you than any of the other abilities that you're going to see here, and so it's going to be the most impact for what it can actually do for you. Next up, for offensive tackles specifically, I like to add Edge Protector. Blockers with this ability reduce an edge pass rusher's chances of using a quick block shed move. That does not necessarily mean that they're not going to be able to shed this offensive lineman, but being one of the most important things for your passing game is going to be not getting sacked within the first 2 seconds of a passing play. Sometimes those plays need time to develop, and so just being able to limit the ability to get a quick shed and a quick sack by an edge defender is going to be very useful, especially for your offensive tackles. I also really like on my offensive linemen the abilities that impact blocks, screen plays, and those types of things. So screen protector is really good. You'll notice a lot of times your screen protector offensive lineman will get out in front of the play and lay a guy out, get an actual pancake. And that's going to get you extra running room whenever you actually catch that screen pass. So I highly recommend that for anybody that does include screens in their offense. And I'm one of those users that likes to mix in screens very often, you know, whether they be halfback slip screens, sometimes tight end screens are even very effective, and this can be useful on those plays. Beyond that, then, there are 3 other abilities that I would personally recommend on your offensive line, one of which is Nasty Streak. Blockers with this ability will frequently attempt and win impact blocks against linebackers and defensive backs when playing as a lineman or fullback. So this is going to be particularly useful whenever your guards are getting up to the second level and blocking linebackers or on pulling plays. And so this is one that I recommend you have on your guards more often than not, and this one is available, I think, at a pretty fairly reasonable overall. I don't think you have to be a crazy high overall to access this one. So I very often go with Nasty Streak. It's one that I often pair with Screen Protector so that anytime my guard is basically moving, they get an impact block, a successful impact block. So Nasty Streak combined with Screen Protector can be extremely effective, and you can also combine it with Polar Elite. Polar Elite is fantastic because blockers with this ability will frequently attempt and win pull blocks. So this is going to depend on exactly what you're doing with your offense, whether you want to run Screen Protector, Nasty Streak, or Polar Elite, but those are the 3 guard-specific abilities that I would like to run on my left guard and my right guard because they're going to be doing the most movement. Even something as simple as a trap play on the offensive line, an 0-1 trap where the line is down blocking and the guard is trapping the opposite way, that is going to be really effective with Polar Elite because it's going to open up a little bit extra of a hole. It's going to make sure that they're going to get that impact block, and you're going to open up a gap for your running back to go through. So those are definitely some of the best abilities to have out there. Now, it depends on who to put them on. Again, like your center is not going to be pulling very often. Your center is not very often going to be getting up to the second level because he has a nose guard to block. Likewise, I don't know how often you see your tackle pulling. I don't know how often you guys might see your tackle getting up to the linebacker level or something like that. So it's going to have to be a bit of a case-by-case basis, but any combination of the ones that I've mentioned so far is going to be fantastic for your offensive line. And then what is potentially the most OP, or used to be the most OP ability on an offensive lineman, is Threat Detector, which is going to allow you to highlight any oncoming blitzers on 3rd and 4th down. The difference now is that this ability can be bluffed. So you can show blitz, but essentially if a guy's on the line of scrimmage, he can appear as a blitzer, that type of thing. And blitzers that are coming that are off the line of scrimmage can be bluffed and not picked up by Threat Detector. So it's a give and take. It's a little bit less OP now than it used to be in a lot of franchises, a lot of leagues. This is even a banned ability. So it's up to you. If you struggle with pressure and those types of things, it could be really helpful to have Threat Detector. Personally speaking, I would suggest that you guys run some combination of Polar Elite, Nasty Streak, Screen Protector, and Post Up. And then, of course, Edge Protector on your left tackle and right tackle. And this is actually not even available to be selected for interior offensive linemen, which is something that I forgot to mention. There are some other abilities here, and I do want to just kind of briefly cover them because there are a lot of abilities here that are just not that good in my opinion. So Unspun, Tough Nut, Fool Me Once, Natural Talent, and Tearproof are pretty much all useless in my opinion, as well as Lifeguard. Essentially all these do is give you extra blocker resistance points, which in my personal opinion don't affect things that often, and it's not hard to get blocker resistance points. It's like anytime a defensive player is using moves, using shed moves, you're going to build up resistance against it. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. If you struggle with pass blocking and those types of things, then maybe you might want to play some of these, but a lot of them are very niche. Like, you have to be going up against somebody that uses spin pass rush moves for Unspun to work. Blockers with this ability have increased blocker resistance points. Well, I can't ever really remember a scenario where I needed more resistance points, personally speaking. Fool Me Once, you develop points at a faster rate, so that might not be too bad. Still, I would prefer to have impact blocks than to have extra resistance points. Personally, I don't see myself having an issue where I need more blocker resistance points and where I'm getting sacked all the time. Natural Talent, similar. They start every new blocking encounter with built-in resistance points. Tearproof, you're defending against rip pass rush moves. Again, very niche. And then Lifeguard, you're defending against swim club pass rush moves, very niche. One game you could be defending against a guy that actually does swim, and the next game you're not. And so that could be a useless ability for you. And maybe you go to the length of switching it from game to game, but that's not something I'd personally recommend. Just put on the abilities that are actually good and that are going to get you impact blocks, that are going to get you one double teams and things like that, that are going to affect you all game long in every single game that you're in. Secure Protector is interesting. Blockers with this ability reduce a rusher's chances of using a quick block shed move. I don't know if that's trying to influence actual run shedding or if that's trying to influence block sheds on pass rushes. It's weird the way that it's worded. It's not something that I would really bother to spend much time with. All Day can be pretty useful for you, especially if you're going up against good pass rushers that have abilities that allow them to utilize extra pass rush abilities or points. Blockers with this ability will allow less frequent shed attempts by their block target, so that can be helpful. But if you're going up against a user, I don't think that that's going to actually impact anything because their ability to use points, their ability to use pass rush moves is completely dictated on their actual skill stick. So again, this is a little bit more niche. This is one that I would put below the ones that I said I'd actually use as like I'd maybe consider it type of thing, whereas it's not in the category of Lifeguard, Tough Nut, Unspun, Fool Me Once, Natural Talent, Tearproof, where I just wouldn't use them at all, to be honest with you. And then again, Matador is similar. It's in that kind of mid-tier with All Day, where you're going to be able to have stronger protection against dominant bull rush moves attempted by defenders. So this is essentially the exact counter to El Toro on the defensive line. El Toro can be a menace for you. That means that they get dominant bull rush moves. This can allow your offensive lineman to defend against it. Again, that's very niche because you're going to have to be going up against somebody that actually has El Toro, and there's not that many players in the league that are going to be able to utilize dominant bull rush moves against you. So maybe it's something for you to consider if you're going into a game against a big time bull rushing player like that, but I wouldn't have it on regularly. I would just use the ones that actually impact your game on a play-by-play basis. And that's about it as far as it goes for superstar abilities for offensive linemen within Madden 24. Hopefully you found this information useful. Hopefully this will allow you to dial in and actually use some decent abilities on your offensive linemen. I know one of the biggest issues that I see out there is people get a superstar offensive lineman with some abilities and then they don't live up to their potential. And a lot of it comes down to just not utilizing the abilities that are actually good for offensive linemen. Most of the abilities here are not very good whatsoever. So there's only like 5 or 6 that I would recommend using. What I'd like you guys to do now is to leave a comment down below and let me know how much effort you put into your offensive line within Madden 24, whether you be playing franchise mode, ultimate team, quick play, whatever it is. I spend a lot of time dedicated to my offensive line, making sure that I have superstars, making sure that I have good abilities, making sure that I have well-rounded offensive linemen that impact the way that I play. But I know a lot of people ignore the offensive line, focus on their skill players because they feel like offensive line doesn't really do much, whether they're high or low overall, have abilities or not. So I would like to hear your opinion down in the comment section. What is your take on the offensive line within Madden 24? As always, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good one.